Hello and welcome to Creating a Great Resume, brought to you by the PA Career Link of Luzerne and Schuylkill counties. Today we will be reviewing several resume tips and guidelines. To begin, we should consider the hiring process. Understanding the role your resume plays in this process will help you advance towards a job offer. In the flowchart, we see the hiring process begins with management relaying their hiring needs to human resources, who then creates a description to meet this need and posts it to an applicant tracking system, otherwise known as ATS for short. We will discuss ATS in more detail later on. The job is then posted to job boards where candidates typically find them, such as on the PA Career Link website, and apply. The resumes and applications are then evaluated by the ATS software for keyword matches. The best matches are reviewed by HR, who select the top candidates for a phone interview. From there, the top candidates from that pool are interviewed by hiring managers who offer their top choice the position. Within this process, your resume plays a key, albeit brief role. On average, employers only view your resume for about 6 to 30 seconds. This gives a very small window of time to make a good impression and move forward through the process outlined here. As such, it is vitally important that we make the resume impactful in that short window of time. We do so by ensuring the resume has good format, good content, and detailed information. Typically, when your resume is being viewed for that 6 to 30 seconds, employers are looking for reasons not to contact you rather than the other way around, as many would assume. This is due to the many barriers they encounter when looking to hire someone. The first barrier employers encounter is the number of applicants for each position they offer. On average, 144 people apply for each entry-level position, and about 89 people apply for each professional level position. That is a lot of resumes to review, especially if the company is looking to hire someone within a specific time frame, and especially if you consider some larger companies that offer several positions at once. Furthermore, only about 35% of the candidates applying for the position are actually qualified, because some candidates only spend about 50 seconds reading a job description. As such, the hiring process takes time to identify the best candidates, costing an employer about $3,500. Think about it. This is before they pay salary or benefits and before they get any use of that employee's skills. To combat these obstacles, many employers, about 95% of large companies and 50% of mid-sized companies, utilize applicant tracking systems. An applicant tracking system is software that scans incoming resumes for job-specific keywords. It then scores each resume based on how well they match those words and forwards the best matches to a hiring manager. The resumes that do not score high enough may be excluded from the applicant pool and never be reviewed by a real person. The goal is to identify the 35% mentioned earlier that are actually qualified for the position. It also helps to manage applicants and store documentation for future use. While this all sounds great for the company, there are some flaws with the system. Software, though helpful and able to process a lot of information quickly, cannot process information the same way a person does. There are some key flaws that can prevent you from advancing through the applicant tracking system that has nothing to do with your qualifications. ATS software can eliminate about 60 to 70% of the applicant pool based on matches to the job description. To increase your chances of moving forward, avoid the following: resumes with borders, texts in the headers and footers of the page, creative or fancy bullet points, graphics and photos. If you work in graphic design or photography, save examples of your work for your portfolio and let your resume speak to your qualifications and experiences. Charts, tables, or text boxes, fonts smaller than 11 points, PDF files, as Microsoft Word is more accurate for these systems. Only use a PDF if the application instructions specifically note that PDFs are acceptable. Page numbers, color. Color should only be used strategically on printed resumes, as they will be received directly by a person. If you do use color, we advise that you use no more than 2 conservative colors, such as navy blue. All of these things must be avoided to ensure that the ATS software can easily understand your resume and generate a high-level match with a description to ensure you get through to the next step in the application process. The goal is to organize your resume in an easy-to-read format and to ensure that our resume emphasizes our skills as opposed to our fancy bullet points or loud colors. The best advice is to keep your resume simple and focus attention on developing a strong resume that has those three key components: good format, good content, and detailed information. Now that we understand how the resume is processed, here are some tips to keep in mind while developing your resume. Consistent formatting is very important. For example, if you use numerical dates in one section, do not use the written date elsewhere. Or if you use all capitals for state abbreviations, do not use mixed capitalization when referencing states in another section. Next, be sure to use a professional tone throughout your resume. The way we speak to a friend or family member may be more casual than how we speak to our supervisor. We want to be thoughtful in the words we use to describe our qualifications and experience. As such, we want to avoid FIDO words. These are overused and common descriptive words. Some examples are hardworking, friendly, or independent. Because they're overused, they don't help you stand out in a competitive application process. Instead of hardworking, consider using driven, ambitious, or motivated. Action verbs are an effective way to start bullet points. You may also use onetonline.org, which offers detailed job descriptions for just about any position you can think of. While writing your resume, avoid negative words as they can be flagged by ATS software and can inadvertently eliminate your resume during the screening process. A positive spin is best. Here are some major tips for formatting your resume. Keep this in mind when we discuss different templates. If applicable, add your LinkedIn URL. If you do not currently use LinkedIn, it can be a great resource for job seekers as it allows you to network within your field, obtain endorsements of your skills from previous coworkers and managers, and even job search using your profile. If you have not already done so, consider taking some time to explore what LinkedIn has to offer. Remember to use an updated and professional email address. Avoid AOL or Yahoo email addresses as they are seen as outdated. Unprofessional email addresses can be a distraction and a turnoff for employers reading your resume. When in doubt, use some variation of your name when creating a new email address. Again, the focus should be on your professional nature, not your love of cookies or the beach or any personal information. Remove any outdated software skills. Employers expect most people to have some basic knowledge of common software, such as Microsoft Word. Remove dates from your education unless you graduated within the last 5 years. This is important for those concerned with age discrimination because it shifts the focus towards the skills you developed, not necessarily where you developed them. We also recommend building your personal branding statement. When describing your work experience, focus on your last 3 to 5 jobs or the past 15 years, whichever comes first. If you have multiple positions simultaneously, you do not need to include each job. Instead, list the job that is consistent with the field you are considering and only list all jobs if it covers a gap in employment. Concentrate on your skills rather than specific tasks. Highlighting a skill distinguishes you from other applicants. Use skills versus tasks while writing resume bullet points. Tasks sometimes do not provide enough information, and tasks may not utilize keywords to launch you into the next phase of the hiring process. When describing your work experience, list 3 to 5 bullet points for each job. Each bullet point should support itself and provide evidence of the work experience. Each bullet point should answer, "What did you do?" In other words, what was the task at hand? In addition, each bullet point should answer at least one of the following. How did you perform that task? What specific skills, equipment, knowledge was used? And/or why was it beneficial to the company and employer? Here is an example. What did you do? I sold products to consumers. Why was it important? I made my sales goals every month for the company. To make it a bullet point answering all 3 questions, it should read as, utilized extensive product knowledge, the how you perform that task, to match customers with appropriate products and services, the what you did, increasing profit margins, which is why it was beneficial to the company or employer, or increased corporate profitability by matching products and services to consumer needs using extensive product knowledge. This is just reordering the phrases. Here's another example. Ensured the cleanliness and sanitization of a 4-star hotel in keeping with corporate standards. What did you do? Ensured the cleanliness and sanitization of a 4-star hotel. Why was it important? In keeping with corporate standards. A general manager now knows you not only can perform the task, but can do so in a way that ensures compliance with corporate standards. By describing the importance behind what you're doing, your experience becomes more relevant to the hiring manager when assessing how you can meet their needs. Your first bullet point needs to be your best. At minimum, an employer will read the bullet point under each job and move on. Remember, they may only review your resume for 6 to 30 seconds initially. Each bullet point should be an accomplishment-based statement. Focus on achievements, promotions, major contributions, quantifiable outcomes, or skills in action. This helps to draw a more immediate line between what you've done for other employers and what you can do for the next one. A branding statement is a description of who you are as a professional. It introduces your qualifications and highlights your most valuable skills and experiences related to the job. The branding statement should be located within the top third of your resume, as it is the first and sometimes only section that will be read in full. The statement should be brief, about 4 to 6 lines, to gain the attention of an employer and leave them wanting more, like to interview you. Personal branding statements are also thought of as a professional summary, professional profile, qualification summary, or other like titles. The first resume template or design we will review is the chronological resume. This is the most commonly used template. This template lists your work experiences in reverse chronological order with descriptive bullet points beneath each position. This example of a chronological resume also shares some common features with all other templates, such as beginning with your name and location, which can be limited to only your city and zip code. It's not necessary to list your exact home address. Employers really just want to know your proximity to the worksite. For example, is it a reasonable commute? If an employer wants to know more information, they will request it in the application. Next, you should include the best phone number to reach you. Remember to set up a voicemail so an employer can leave a message. Following your phone number should be your professional email address. Now we can add your personal branding statement or summary of qualifications. This section replaces the traditional objective, which simply states that you are seeking employment, which is assumed by nature of your application. If you prefer to use summary of qualifications as opposed to the personal branding statement we described earlier, you can list 6 to 12 keywords and skills relevant to the job posting. It's a good space to match with the ATS software and help employers identify you as a qualified candidate. Other sections include highest level of education, including any industry-recognized credentials and military experience if applicable. Note that we do not have a reference section on this resume. We recommend preparing a separate document listing your references, as employers often request this information elsewhere in the application. Save the space on your resume for your skills and qualifications. Our next resume template or design is the functional resume. Like the chronological template, this resume layout shares all the common features except for 2 things. First, it provides an example of the personal branding statement or skills summary. In other words, an overview of your work history, skills, and qualifications in 4 to 6 sentences. Second, beneath the skills summary is the skills and experience section. Here, instead of listing your previous jobs in reverse chronological order, frame your previous experience under 3 major skills subheadings. For this example, this applicant lists event coordination, office management, and computer data entry as their skills subheadings. These 3 skill subheadings are directly relevant to the position they're applying for. Under each skill subheading, provide examples of that skill and action from previous experiences. For instance, under event coordination, The applicant facilitated corporate events, which may have been during their time in one position, while they also created a new filing system, which could be an example from a different position. After completing the skills and experience section, cite specifically the previous positions that you provided examples from under the skill subheadings above. For each position, list the job title, company name, location, and dates of employment. Think of this section as a footnote to verify the examples of the skills and action described earlier. The functional resume template is helpful for job seekers who have limited work history over the last 15 years. This format enables an applicant to emphasize their skills and qualifications rather than focusing on the job title, employer, and length of employment, such as gaps in work history. The functional resume template is also helpful when an applicant is changing careers, because this style enables the applicant to emphasize their transferable skills relevant to the new career and position. Our last resume template is the combination resume. This design format enables the applicant to use various components of both the chronological and functional resume templates, as there really is no one right way to prepare your resume. Instead, the applicant should choose the components that best establish them as the most qualified candidate for the position. In this example, notice the use of both the skills summary and key skills section. This applicant also reframes their work experiences under job titles without including the employer name and employment dates. This choice may be because the job titles match the position they applied for, as well as to avoid emphasis on brief stints of employment or gaps in work history. Remember to still cite this information below in the professional experience section as seen in this example. Every person is unique and each person's work history is different. Therefore, no one style fits all. Use your judgment when deciding what template works best for you. If you need assistance, the PA CareerLink staff is always available. Please contact your local office. After completing your resume, alterations should only be made when your address, phone number, email address, and employment or education information changes. Rather than editing your resume for each job application, consider using a cover letter to better establish yourself as a fit not only for the position, but at the company. For more information, please sign up for our Writing an Effective Cover Letters workshop at the PA CareerLink office. That concludes our Creating a Great Resume presentation. For further assistance, please contact your local PA CareerLink staff and use the attached templates beneath the video. To view other workshop offerings, check out our Facebook page or visit our website at pacareerlink.pa.gov. Thank you for attending and have a great day.